Hey everybody, this is Phil from Zade Comics, the writer of the upcoming graphic novel set to launch on Indiegogo in August called Magic Cop, and just one half of the two best looking brothers in all of comics. And today we're doing a statue review. It's a very niche statue, and I think there's only one of them. It's a fan-made piece. But first I want to talk about our mailing list that we're doing over at Zade Comics for our comic Magic Cop. You can go to zadecomics.com and sign up for the mailing list to get to read a free pilot issue of the story, and then it'll let you know when we're going to crowdfunding, and you'll get some exclusive content on top of that if you're part of the mailing list and do decide to help us out with the crowdfunding. So check that out. Links in the description below, and let's take a look at this awesome statue. Okay, so we're doing a statue head-to-head of my favorite character. Now, some of you might not have ever seen this comic before, but you probably know the character that's on the cover. Not by this appearance, though, if you're a fan of his modern version. So this is Omega Men number 3, and it is the first appearance of Lobo. Now, I did a Lobo figure review earlier. It was of the Minico Lobo that came out, and I got him actually right here. So this is the Minico guy. Pretty cool, very cartoony, very biker, badass bounty hunter character. But not a lot of people know that he was not that biker badass back in the day. This is 1983, I believe, his first appearance in this comic, where he is tasked to track down the Omega Men and collect them for a bounty. So he's created by Keith Giffen and Alan Grant are the two creators. Oh, sorry, Alan Grant was a big writer of his. Keith Giffen and Roger Slifer was the creators. Alan Grant later came on and wrote a bunch of Lobo stuff with the help of Keith Giffen. But Keith Giffen's always been the main guy. It's his character, and this is what he looked like in his first appearance. He had this weird Gene Simmons hair. He was in this onesie, full outfit with orange and purple on it, kind of like the colors of Metamorpho, who's another one of my favorite characters. But Lobo is, man, a top 3 all-time favorite comic book character. Definitely top 3 favorite DC character. I think my all-time comic book characters are mostly DC, besides Hellboy. But when I first started collecting statues, I was obsessed with Lobo, and I got one of my friends gave me this first appearance of him, and I would just Google search or just eBay search Lobo statues because there were some I really, really wanted, and this fan piece came up, and man, it is ripped straight from the comic book. Look at this guy. It has kind of like a press stone base with whoever the artist is. I don't know who the artist is on this. It seems it's very generic, and I'm not even sure if they sculpted this body. It could have been from someone else, but they made a little Lobo plate here. And I mean, he's ripped from the comic. He's got that Gene Simmons hair. He's so first appearance, very plain. And my favorite thing, we'll get into more modern Lobo in a second, because this is going to be a statue head-to-head with the first appearance and later iteration of Lobo, because I have a lot of Lobo collectibles. But my favorite thing about this character is, since Lobo's such a humorous character, and he breaks the fourth wall a lot. In fact, he's very, very much Deadpool before Deadpool, where he'll talk to the audience and make jokes about himself. Well, there's an issue in, I think, the early 90s where Lobo, once he becomes the biker character we all know and love, he goes back in time. Now this is around the Justice League International days, and the Legion days. He goes back in time to his first appearance and meets this guy and makes comments about, man, what was I thinking wearing this back then? It's so cerebral and very meta. So, like I said, I can go a little bit back into this backstory. He was a bounty hunter, and in the '90s, when they revamped him into this biker character, when Simon Bisley got a hold of him, and revamped his look, gave him a badass space motorcycle and this giant metal hook that he swings around, and the huge bombastic 90s weaponry, like the guns that Cable uses and stuff like that. Lobo had all that too. Um, he They came up with a different backstory. So Keith Giffen, who wrote Lobo's back, he gave him this really cool backstory where he's the last of his kind, called the Zarnians, or I like to say the Cesarnians because it starts with a C. I'm not really sure how it's pronounced, but I think it's Zarnians. So he actually killed his whole planet with a science experiment that he had come up with in school. And after that, the ecstasy that he achieved from all that murderous agony, he went on to becoming a bounty hunter. And instead of looking like this, he looks like this. So this was a later iteration of him, um, the kind of a in addition to the Simon Bisley redesign where he's very biker. Alex Horley came in and did this series, this miniseries called Lobo Unbound. Really good read once you know who Lobo is. I would say if you're just picking up the character, read through the Lobo by Keith Giffen and Alan Grant volumes. There's 2 volumes out that just came out this year, I believe. They're really good. They have all the things you need to know a lot about Lobo. It goes into his backstory, and it's got great miniseries. But once you have that down, this takes Lobo into to another level where it's an actual story where you get to know his character, and you see Lobo has some weaknesses in this one. He falls for a girl who turns on him and steals his hook. That's why he doesn't have a hook on his chain. So he's throughout this series he doesn't have his hook. But the art is great in it. These covers are really, really cool that Alex Horley did also, and it's very sweet take. So this statue that I'm about to show you is by DC Direct, came out in 2004, and this was the one that before I started collecting Lobo stuff, I'm like, man, I need to get my hands on this one. And I think my brother got it for me for Christmas, and it has been Lobo Mania in my collection for the rest of my life collecting. And look at this guy. Oh, can we get a focus here? Yeah, there he is. Lobo in all his glory, ripped right off of the cover of Lobo Unbound. And you even have the hookless chain here wrapped around his arm with these cool spikes sticking out. I don't think these are, maybe they're metal. I think they are metal. I don't think they're resin. The chain is definitely metal. You have a lot of Lobo statues that have the chains. He's a little dusty. They have chains wrapped around his arm, and they're usually always metal. Even the Minico figure, and the Iron Studios that I showed off in that Minico video also. But the base, I mean, this statue gets points right off the bat for the base. It's so much detail. You have severed heads in this green toxic ooze. He's sitting on this big barrel of waste, skulls embedded into the base. It's just the detail was great. They took that cover and expanded upon it because you don't see all of this. So the artist of this piece for DC Direct just had fun with it. Got this little kind of elongated skull robo xenomorph head. Reminds me of a xenomorph. And I really dig this look that Alex Horley gave him, because before this, he never used never had a trench coat. It was always a leather jacket or a denim vest. And I'll show you more of my collection. I have him in various iterations. You know, I have the Simon Bisley, and then there's, you know, the Simon Bisley when he did the Christmas special. And I'll put a little picture of the Christmas special up here. That's a laugh riot of a comic book where he is hired by the Easter Bunny to go kill Santa Claus. Now, that just gives you a taste of the madness that Lobo comics bring, and just fun, that 90s fun, uncensored, unapologetic violence and hilarity that you don't get in comics anymore. And that's why I think we see a lot of people stepping back from the mainstream to get those comics that independent writers, creators, and artists are trying to produce. Guys like John Malin and Richard C. Meyer, Ethan Van Sciver, Billy Tucci's going to independent now, and he's like the king of the badass 90s chick. So we're coming back to that in the independent market here, and you guys need to check all that stuff out. Super long dreads. I think this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, we've seen Lobo with dreadlocks, and now Alex Horley has set that in motion, that's the Lobo that is basically in every form, in every media now. We saw in a lot of video games, like Injustice Gods Among Us, they took the Horley design with the dreadlocks, making him look like Rob Zombie a little bit, and these more pointy, hooked down facial markings that Lobo has. A lot of people that are uninformed think that this is face paint, but no, that is a part of his skin, just like a Dalmatian. And same thing around his mouth too. People think that is a mustache, but no, he's had facial hair before, and the facial hair will grow over that. And this is facial hair down here with this little goatee. But yeah, ripped again, straight from the cover. As I'll put it up here, we can see side by side, down to the detail, with this weird new robotic cyborg gauntlet that he has in the comic, where a gun pops out of there. Really cool new design, and the grenade and little toxic grenade there. I'd like that toxic symbol that's on there to be on the statue. It's not there though. So yeah, two totally different interpretations of this extreme character. And I love on the, like right here, you can see it's telling the reader, mature readers only. I love when Lobo Comics did that, when they'd say, you know, not for the faint of heart, or no dweebs, you know, stuff like that, telling you that this is not, you know, not for kids, this is mature. So like I said, yeah, same character, two different times in his life. Let's raise this up a little bit. His first appearance, and his probably, I'd like to say, his newest look with the dreads. Other than that, the only thing that's changed really is they give him the skull knee pads now in his newest forms. But this is where it started for me in collecting, was Lobo, and my love of comics really flourished through this character. And I just miss the comic industry putting out characters and books with this high intensity. So, you know, you're probably not going to find this guy anywhere anymore, because I think he's the only one. But this guy goes for a lot now. I think he's over 500. I think I got I'm not sure how much my brother paid for it, but it's of course going to go up because there's a limited number. We could actually check the bottom and see how many were made. That says 1,000. Wow, that is a low run. I love the little Lobo logo, so it's directly from the logo from Unbound. And if you guys are looking for a great read, I'd suggest get into Lobo by Keith Giffen and Alan Grant. Now this is the true redesign that Simon Bisley did, the amazing Simon Bisley, one of my favorite artists of all time. Pick this up, and then once you get his, his backstory down, then definitely seek out Lobo Unbound. I'm not sure if they have a trade for it, but you could find it in, floppy issues like I have the collection there. So if you guys like this video and you love Lobo, give this video a like, subscribe if you're not already, ring that bell for notifications because we are trying to make it to 50 subscriptions and grow this channel to help support our comic making and making creative content to bring to you all, because we love doing this stuff and we love creating. And I'm hoping to create some immortal characters like Lobo himself. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.